Okay, so we're live on YouTube and we're live on Instagram. So hi on Instagram to Chaning, who's joining me today. So what we're going to do today, everyone, is we're going to release some tension from this area, the neck and the shoulders. So obviously if we sit for long periods of time at a desk, we create tension in this area. Also, we can create a lot of tension in this area. I'm just going to turn sideways for you. When we're looking at our phones, we do this thing where we kind of jut our chins forwards and we've got the chin coming forwards and we're pulling here in the back of the neck and the tops of the shoulders. So what we've got to also think about today is there's a little bone here called the hyoid bone, and the hyoid bone is kind of suspended, and when we draw our chins back, we draw this little hook-like hyoid bone back and up, and we always want this feeling of drawing the chin back and this feeling of hooking from the base of the skull up. So we create length in the back of the neck without tucking the chin in and without jutting the chin forwards and tilting the head back. So we need to think about elongating our spines. Then we've got to draw the hyoid bone and the chin back and get this subtle lift here from the base of the skull. And then you continue this feeling of lifting out through the crown of your head. But you always want your shoulders melting away from the ears. We don't want the shoulders up. The shoulders always melt away from the ears. So if you can find a position where you can sit comfortably, it doesn't have to be cross-legged. All right. And let's just think about our tailbones for a moment. And if we think about the sensation of lifting up from the tailbone, as if you're lifting each vertebra above the one below, and then very gently draw that chin back, lift up from the base of the skull and continue that feeling of lifting out through the crown of the head. And immediately we start to take pressure off this area. And then let your shoulders feel like they're dropping or melting away from your ears. Let the arms relax. And take a moment to also relax into the hinges of your jaw. So let your jaw relax. So internally, the core is now engaged. We've got this lift up. And this drawing back of the chin and lifting from the base of the skull also lifts up internally our digestive tract. So it's really good for our digestion rather than a slumping and jutting the chin forwards and compressing here. So we're getting that very subtle feeling of lifting, drawing the chin back, lifting from the base of the skull, out through the crown of the head, and then our shoulders are melting away from the ears. And then what we're going to do is we're going to exhale and bring the chin down towards the chest. Keeping the shoulders dropping away from the ears. Feel the stretch in the back of the neck. And then inhale, bring the head back to the center. As you exhale, gaze up to the ceiling. And then inhale, bring it back to the center. As you exhale, start to turn your head to look over your right shoulder. Let your left shoulder melt down and away from the left ear. And then as you inhale, bring the head back to the center. As you exhale, turn to look over your left shoulder. So your right shoulder drops away from the ear. And then we inhale back to the center. As you exhale, tilt your head over to the right. Let the left shoulder again melt. Keep the jaw super soft. And then as you inhale, come back to the center. As you exhale, tilt the left ear to the left shoulder. Drop that right one. Let the jaw relax. And inhale back to the center. And then we're going to turn our head to the right again. Now this time we're going to roll the chin across the chest and turn the head to the left. And then again, we draw the chin to the chest and roll it to the other side, keeping the jaw relaxed. We'll do a couple more of these and do this super slow so you can really feel the release in the muscles in the neck, the tops of the shoulders. You may even feel a release into your upper back. And then we'll bring the head back to the center. And lastly, I want you to imagine you've got a little dimple there in the center of your chin and just circle it around. So draw circles with your chin, keeping the jaw relaxed again. And then change sides to circle the other way. And relax. Good. Okay, let's cross the hands over. So let's cross the hands over here. And I'm going to turn sideways, but we've got this nice upright spine. Now I want you to exhale, pull your navel to your spine and start to round. So start to round. And feel the stretch across your shoulder blades. And then when you inhale, start to lift up. So again, as you exhale, pull the navel back towards the spine and start to round. And then on your inhale, lift back up. Do that twice more. So as you exhale, start to round. Feel the stretch across your shoulder blades. Inhale, rise up. And one more time. Exhale, start to round. And then inhale and rise up. Now swap your arms over. So put them over to the other knee. So swap them over the other way round. Pull the navel to the spine. As you exhale, you're going to round again. And then on your inhale, you're going to stand up. And again, as you exhale, you start to round through the spine. And inhale, coming up. We'll do that twice more. So exhale, rounding. And inhaling, sitting tall. And this is the last one now. So exhale and round. And then inhale, sit nice and tall. And then take the hands behind you. Link your fingers together and extend the arms away. So now we're opening up the front of the body here. So start to extend the arms away as much as you can. Keep that extension. And then what we're going to do is we're going to keep clasping the fingers together behind us, but we're going to bring the hands round to the right side of the waist. Okay, so we brought both hands round to this side of the waist now. So what we get is a really deep stretch at the front of the left shoulder there. So we brought the hands back round to the side. That's it. Well done. And pause here for a couple of breaths. And if you notice any tension, whenever you breathe out, as you let go of the breath, you try and let go of any tension. So let's bring the hands around to the other side. So the side of the waist if you can. So feel this stretch here now at the front of this right shoulder. Make sure that your shoulders never shrug up by your ears. Keep them down and draw back. And remember, these muscles work in pairs. So if we're stretching across the front, we'll be strengthening in the back and vice versa. Okay, and then release. We're going to take the arms above the head. And then we're going to bring the right arm underneath the left. So right arm underneath the left and hug. Hug as deeply as you can, keeping the shoulders away from the ears. See how that feels in your upper back. If it's feeling good, you can bring the hands up and try and bring the palms of the hands together. If you can't quite get the palms of the hands together, you can kind of grab your fingertips here, or you can have the hands a little bit spaced out. So your right arm is underneath. Maybe the hands are together. Maybe you could lift your elbows up and move the elbows away from your body. And that gives you a very deep stretch across your shoulder blades. Feel free to go back to one of the previous stretches. So this is gentler and this is even more gentle. Okay, so this is the third level, if you like. Let the jaw relax, keep the shoulders melting away from the ears. We'll hold here for a couple more breaths. Stretching across the back of the shoulders. And then we're going to release. We'll take the arms up above the head again. And now this time we're going to take the left arm underneath. So we do the opposite side, left arm underneath. You start with the hug. See how that feels. Try and release any tension. So feel free to have a little bit of a move around. All right. If it's feeling okay, if it's feeling good, you can move it into this position. This position with the arms is called, in yoga, it's called Garudasana. Garudasana means eagle pose, and it's supposed to represent the beak of an eagle. Send those elbows up, move the elbows away from the chest. Now, there's probably areas now that feel a little bit tight. So keep the jaw soft, and as you exhale, try and release, try and relax, try and let go. So we'll take a few more breaths here. Noticing the sensation across the upper back. Good. Well done, everybody. Let's release. So we've stretched across the upper back. Let's do the opposite and open here. So we're going to take the legs out in front. Point the toes away. We're going to take the hands behind with the fingers pointing forwards. And then I want you to squeeze your shoulder blades and your elbows towards one another and lift your heart. And then we're going to lift up and open up the chest. Now we can keep the chin in and gaze forwards, or we can surrender the head all the way back. It's entirely up to you. So you've got to be really strong in the legs. You've got to point your toes away and pull your kneecaps up. You've got to engage your glutes. You've got to push away from the floor, draw your shoulder blades together and lift your heart up towards the sky. See if you can stay there. If you're getting tired, drop down and just open it up here instead. If your neck's hurting, keep your chin in and gaze forwards. Couple more breaths if you can. And let's exhale and release. Coming back into center, we're going to take the right arm up and take the fingertips between the shoulder blades. And then with your left arm, either push the tricep back here or hold on to the elbow and draw it back. Or if you can take this hand behind and link the fingers together. What we've got to try and avoid, though, is ending up in this kind of slumped position. All right, so if you're slumping, come back to the lesser stretch here or here. And what we're doing is we're opening up the armpit and opening up the shoulder here. And we're going to get a stretch into the triceps. Sometimes if the triceps are a little bit tight, it draws your arms forwards and then you struggle to get your arms up. All right, so let's open up here. Relax into your breathing. You can start to tilt it over to the side, get a bit of a deeper stretch by coming over to this left side. Good, well done. And then come back to the center and relax. So let's try the other side. Take that left arm up, take the fingertips between the shoulder blades. Make sure you maintain this upright spine. What often happens, people start slumping. So maintain your upright spine, chin back, everything I mentioned at the beginning. And then you can gently ease it back here. Yeah. Or you can hold the elbow and gently draw it back. If it works for you, you can take the hands behind and link. All right. Don't worry if you can't quite make the link. And then try and keep your hips nice and level. Maintain your posture. And relax there. So this, as I said before, is going to open up the front of the armpit. It's going to stretch here and relax your triceps. So we'll just stay here for a couple more breaths. And then we'll release. Okay, so your shoulder joint, just circle around your shoulders for a moment. Your shoulder joint is a ball and socket joint, and lubricating that joint is a fluid called synovial fluid. So we're just going to move through the shoulder joint to try and increase our synovial fluid. Let's bring the hands to the heart. As we breathe in, take the arms all the way up to the top and let the hands meet. And then as you exhale, bring the hands down. And try and flow with the breath. So as you inhale, you take the arms up. And then as you exhale, the hands come down. Now, next time you raise your arms, be aware that your shoulders don't raise like this. We want the shoulders down as the arms raise up. So you've got to isolate the two movements, which is quite hard. So when the arms come up, you don't want the shoulders lifting, keep the shoulders down. So you might have to bend your elbows a little bit more to maintain the shoulders dropping away from the ears. And we're moving with the breath, which is going to heat up and warm up all the muscles and ligaments around the shoulders. But also we're trying to increase that synovial fluid. It's like we're lubricating our shoulder joint. Let's do a couple more of these. Good, well done. Let's do one more of them, everyone. That's great, well done. And relax. Good. Come over to your hands and knees. We're going to do some cat-cow stretches. We're going to start to mobilize the thoracic spine. So the thoracic spine is the bit between your shoulder blades. You've got your lumbar spine, where you've got your sacrum right down at the bottom. You've got your lumbar spine, the natural curve there in the lower back. Between the shoulder blades is your thoracic spine, and your neck is your cervical spine. Now, the cervical spine, the neck and the lumbar spine are highly mobile. All right. It's the bit between the shoulder blades, the thoracic spine, that tends to be stiff. So when we move through these cat-cow stretches, I want you to focus particularly on the bit between the shoulder blades. Don't overdo it in the neck and the lumbar, all right? Otherwise, you're going to end up with an injury. Try and get the movement between the shoulder blades. So we come to our hands and knees, and then as we exhale, we push away from the floor, draw up through the navel, and I want you to really focus on lifting up between your shoulder blades. And then on your inhale, I want you to elongate your spine first. Send your heart forwards and pull your shoulders away from the ears, but don't over dip in the lower back and the neck. As you exhale, we're going to round up through the spine, but pay particular attention to the thoracic spine between your shoulder blades. And then on your inhale, start to send the heart forwards and the shoulders away from the ears. And keep flowing again with the breathing. So exhaling, stretching across the upper back. And then on the inhale, we open across the chest and send the heart forwards. A couple more times, exhaling and lifting up between the shoulder blades. And inhaling, elongating the spine. And again, exhaling and rounding. And inhaling and elongating. Now I want you to come into a neutral spine. A neutral spine, a straight line from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Pull your navel up and engage your core muscles. We're going to inhale and we're going to take the left arm up towards the sky, opening up the front of the left shoulder. And then as we exhale, we're going to turn the palm to face up, thread the left hand underneath the right arm, bend the right elbow and drop the back shoulder blade to the floor. So on the inhale, we're going to come up and send the left hand up towards the sky, opening the front of the shoulder. As we exhale, we thread the left arm underneath the right and drop the back of the shoulder blade to the floor. Keep that flowing. So inhale, opening up the front of the left shoulder, stretching there. And then exhaling, stretching across the back of that shoulder. Keep it going. We'll do a couple more. Inhale, opening up. Keep the shoulder away from the ear. And exhaling and stretching across the back. One more time. Inhale, coming up. And exhale, threading through. Good. And then we'll come back onto all fours and we'll try the other side. So we're going to inhale and open up, taking the right arm up to the sky. And then as you exhale, you thread it through and stretch across the back of that right shoulder. Good. And again, so notice how this feels. As much as you can look at a video, all right, or you can join in a class, only you know how your body feels. So when you send that right arm up to the sky, really try and feel that stretch at the front of the shoulder and the chest. And then when you thread it underneath, see if you can find that stretch across the back of your shoulder blade. Always take your awareness to your physical body and notice the sensations and what's going on. Let's do a couple more on this side, everyone. That's good. So we're going to do one more on this side. And then we're going to rest. Now we're going to keep the hips where they are. So the hips at the moment, ideally, are directly above your knees. You've got a nice right angle there at the knee. We're going to open up the fronts of the shoulders in a posture called puppy pose. So this is how it goes. You bring your forearms forwards and rest your forehead down. And then you keep walking the hands forwards as much as you can until you really start to feel like you're opening up the front of your armpits. Now you can take your arms wider if it's more comfortable like that. Stay there for me. As you feel that length at the sides of your ribs here, okay? Don't overly dip in the lower back. Remember I was mentioning this part of your back is highly flexible. Don't dip too much. Keep the belly up so your core is engaged, but try and get that feeling of opening up the fronts of your armpits there. Relax there. Stay there for a few more breaths. See how everything's feeling. That's good. Stay there. And you can hold out in these stretches for quite a long time. I'm going through them so that you can sort of see a variety of stretches. But for example, if you know you're tight in the shoulders, you can hang out there for 5 minutes. Okay, let's relax the shoulders now. So what we're going to do is we're going to sit back. I want you to have your toes together, but take your knees apart. So toes together, but take your knees apart. So your body's got somewhere to go. Arms behind, preferably, and you're going to relax forwards then. Just let your shoulders drop. So what you could do here also is you could bring your arms in front and rest your forehead on your forearms. Try and find a place where you can let your upper body now completely relax. Let your shoulders completely relax. Good. And then we're going to come up And we're going to look at strengthening and stabilizing the muscles and ligaments around these shoulders. So we're going to hold a plank, all right? So let's come to our hands and knees again. And first of all, we're going to stabilize these shoulders. So we want the shoulders directly above our wrists. We want the fingers pointing forwards, okay? And then what I want you to feel is that your upper arms are slightly rotating out. So your inner elbows face one another. The inner elbows face one another. And then push away from the floor. So you lift up between your shoulder blades. What you don't want is to be sinking like this. So push away from the floor. Keep the back of the head up and take the gaze directly down. And then we need to pull the shoulders away from the ears. Pull the belly up and away from the floor. Take one leg out. Take the other leg out. So we're in a nice strong plank position. And holding that plank position is going to stabilize our shoulder joint. So we're going to hold that plank position, keeping the navel pulling up. And then from that plank position, you're going to push back and try and open up the fronts of your armpits. And then from this down dog position, we're going to come forwards again, back into our plank with our belly pulling up and away from the floor. So we're going to move between the two. That's good. So we're going to go back into the down dog, opening up the armpits. Inhaling, coming forwards into the plank, strengthening those muscles around the joint. And again, so as you exhale, push back. And then on the inhale, come forwards. So let's have a little think about this. As we exhale and push back, notice the opening up of the armpit. And then the movement as you come forwards, the strengthening, the stabilizing around that joint. Couple more times. Exhaling. And inhaling. Now, next time, what we're going to do is we're going to exhale, and then we're going to bend the knees, walk the hands back towards the feet, and we'll just very slowly roll up and come up into standing. And circle those shoulders back and round. Good, well done. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use the wall. So if you've got some wall space or you've got a counter or something that you can do this on, where we open up the front of the shoulder by placing the hand on the wall and then turning into the room. So if I do it from here, I place my hand on the wall and then I turn away from it. Don't have the hand too high. If the hand's too high, your shoulder's going to lift up by your ear. So it needs to be down. The elbow doesn't have to be straight. It doesn't have to be locked out. It can be bent. Make sure you're not leaning back or leaning forward. So stand away from the wall so that your body is vertical. And then instead of facing the wall this way, you turn and you just keep turning as much as you can until you feel it. So, you can see how it looks, but I want you to know how it feels. This is a really good way of opening up here, the front of the shoulder. Okay. And opening up this area here is going to be really good for your posture. Sometimes our posture is bad because our shoulders slope forwards. We want to open. And then when we open, we also open up the chest, which allows our lungs to expand and contract more freely, which allows more oxygen and energy to come into our body. When we're closed here, we don't breathe properly. All right. So it's got multiple benefits to opening up these shoulders. So again, you could hang out there for quite a while. If you know that you're somebody who tends to drop their shoulders forwards, do these exercises, hold them for a while. You could give this area a little bit of a massage as well. And then you can do the back of the shoulder by keeping the same arm on, but turning the other way around. So that will do the back of the shoulder. Again, make sure the shoulder is dropping away from the ear. So if I show you this one from this angle here, it'd be like this, turning towards the arm, yeah?
Hi, Veronica.
Hiya.
Veronica, I can't see you clearly.
Okay. I'll talk to you about it afterwards.
Okay.
If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm live streaming on Instagram as well. So that's somebody talking to me on Instagram. Okay, so let's do the other side. So let's get the arm on, the hand on. Can you see me from there? And then we come round, so we come forwards. So we get the stretch here across the front of the shoulder. Making sure, again, that the hand's not too high, it's not too low. You don't have to lock out the elbow. And see how that feels across your chest. And then you can walk the other way round to get the stretch across the back of the shoulder blade. Good. Hopefully you can see it better on this side, yeah? And then we'll relax. And then another standing posture you can do, if you've got a windowsill or you've got a chair, is you can come into a flat back forward fold here, pulling the navel up, remember. So what we don't want is we don't want to dip here. This is a core exercise. This is no different to doing a plank, but we're doing it standing up. You want a nice right angle at your hips, yeah? So you don't want the legs, you don't want to be back here. You don't want the legs there. You want the legs, so the hips, there's a nice right angle. Try and choose something that's about hip height for you, so your body's in a straight line. And keep the back of the neck long. Make sure you don't start dropping the head down here. And really lengthen the spine there. Keeping the shoulders away from the ears, keeping the belly up, and opening up again the fronts of your shoulders. This is a really nice exercise for opening the shoulders and strengthening the core, your deep lower abdominal muscles. Also a bit of a stretch for some of you. You're probably feeling it here in your hamstrings and your calf muscles. So a flat back, forward bend stretch. And then we'll release. We're going to come and stand. I'm going to try a little balance, which is going to open up the shoulder here. So if we turn the right thumb out, so turn the right thumb out and draw the arm back. So feel the extension already here. Take that right foot back as well. So what I want you to do is start to balance on your left leg to engage the core, and then get this extension coming up through the right side of your body. And then if it's comfortable, you're going to try and grab hold of your ankle and extend. You could tilt forwards too. All right. If you've got a wall, you can use it for your balance. What we've got to try not to do is close at the front of the body like this. So remember, we're trying to open. So to open the front, you've got to engage the muscles in the back. So we'll pause here and breathe. You can extend it more if you've got the flexibility, or you can keep it here, or you can even keep it here. You'll still feel it. Opening up the front of the shoulder here, opening up the hip flexor, and release. Let's try the other side. I'm just going to turn around for this one. So start off turning the left thumb out. You've got to turn the upper arm out, thumb pointing towards the wall behind you. Step back so you're on your tiptoe there. And then if you're ready to, you can grab. Then you start to extend. If you've got an extension, you can start to reach and tilt. All right, but again, you've got to be careful that you're not forwards here. This is quite a strong posture because you need flexibility, not just in the shoulder, you need flexibility in the spine, at the front of your hip, and in your quad here. And then all the strength is in the back of the body. So we just hold there for a couple more breaths. And then we're going to release. We're going to come back down onto the floor now. So if you come back down onto the floor, into kneeling, and we're going to come into a little camel pose. So tuck the toes under. All right, have your feet and your knees hip bone distance apart, and have your hips pointing forwards. Tailbone down, navel back. We've got to make sure we don't tilt like this. So the pelvis, the tailbone needs to be down, and the navel needs to be back. And then we're going to just take our arms up and turn our torso to the left and see if we can get the left hand touching the left heel. Then we try and turn our torso back to face forwards. We arch the back, keep the chin in, and then the arm comes up. So this is another one where we're opening up the front of the chest. We don't want to feel any pinching here in the lower back though. So the tailbone must be down, and we must lift up and out of the waist. And then we go to the other side. So we slowly release. We turn the torso to the right, right hand to the right heel. And then you square your hips back to face forwards. You lift up, and the top arm can come up and back. Be careful of your lower back though, yeah? You've got to make sure that the navel is back and the tailbone is down. And then we're going to slowly release out of this one. We're going to bring the feet together, point the toes away. This next one is going to do the opposite. It's going to stretch across the shoulder blades. You might like to watch this one first. It's called rabbit. You hold on to the heels, watch it first, and then do it. Tuck your chin into your chest. Slowly roll down one vertebra at a time. Your forehead skims your knees. The crown of the head gets to the floor. And then what you do is you lift up the hips. Okay? So you can hold on to your feet, tuck your chin in. One vertebra at a time, super slow roll down. The forehead skims the knees. And then you lift up, you round through the spine. And then you release. And then we're going to come back into sitting. And we're just going to finish off. Let the arms relax. Okay, turn the head to the right. Roll the chin round. Turn the head to the left. And again, roll the chin round. Let the jaw relax. Do a couple more of these. And back to the center and circle round. So even if you just did your neck rolls and a few circles round and kind of opened up the chest, you know, while you're sort of like, if you're doing any kind of sitting at your desk for any length of time, after, you know, every half an hour, just a couple of minutes, just releasing into the neck and the shoulders will be really, really beneficial for you. All right, well done, everyone. So I'm going to close down the YouTube and stay on the Instagram for a minute and take care. So let me just close down the YouTube first. See you later, guys.